Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's been a while since I uploaded my introduction video in February, but now I'm finally ready to post my first video. In my very first video with the title SpaceX and Starship in a nutshell, I would like to talk about SpaceX's goals and missions, and I also want to explain to you the Starship rocket in more detail. But before we make a deep dive into SpaceX and Starship, I would like to set the scene and talk about the purpose of my channel. For all of you who don't know me personally, I'd like to give a quick introduction of myself. My name is Alex, I'm 44 years old, born and raised in Switzerland. I'm married, I have 2 kids and work full-time for the company Swisscom. Since my childhood, I have always been fascinated about space exploration, and that is why I have decided to make an own YouTube channel. There are a lot of YouTube channels out there about space exploration, astronomy, and especially about SpaceX and Starship. So my primary goal is not to compete with any of those channels. A lot of SpaceX channels are run by professional YouTubers, which means that their full-time job is content creation, so they can basically dedicate all their time to creating and publishing videos. As I just told you, I have 2 small kids and a very interesting but also challenging job which keeps me constantly busy. So whatever time I have left, some of it at least, I dedicate to my YouTube channel. Therefore, it is obvious that my videos are maybe not as top-notch as the ones from all the professional YouTube channels who deal with SpaceX and astronomy. But as I upload and create more and more videos, I hope that the quality of my channel gets more and more professional. Purpose of the channel. So let's start with the purpose of my YouTube channel. The purpose is to share my passion about astronomy, space travel and SpaceX with you, my followers. My channel is mainly for space enthusiasts and beginners who may not know in detail what is currently going on in the space industry. My channel is not for techies or space professionals, and I won't do any technical deep dives. So the main goal is to just give you a broad overview and understanding what is currently happening with SpaceX and Starship. Topics. So what are the topics that I would like to discuss on my YouTube channel? I have the following in mind. I would like to bring to you bi-weekly Starship updates so that you know what is currently going on within the space industry and with the Starship project at SpaceX. Besides the bi-weekly Starship updates, I would like to give you a SpaceX introduction. And the best way to do it is to have a SpaceX ABC video series. The SpaceX ABC will have 4 parts. In every part, I will discuss specific topics. After the SpaceX ABC, you will know what is going on and you will have a broad understanding about SpaceX's mission statement, the purpose of Starship and what Elon Musk wants to achieve with his company. Then there will be the Starship breaking news videos. So whenever something important is happening at SpaceX, you will be notified beforehand on my channel. If you subscribe to my channel, you won't miss a thing. Finally, I will also upload videos and talk about special topics in the field of astronomy and space travel. Special topics could be: is time travel possible? What is a light year? What is a black hole? Or are we alone in the universe? One important message before we start. I'm trying to keep my videos as simple and short as possible. So my target is that none of my videos are longer than 10 minutes. Before I make a deep dive into SpaceX and its history, it is important that you become familiar with the mission statement and sole purpose of the company. If you compare various mission statements of big companies such as Nike, Google or Nestle to the one at SpaceX, none of them quite catches the dimension of it. The mission statement of SpaceX and the sole purpose of its existence is to make human beings a multi-planetary species and to colonize Mars. This is not a joke, it's not April's Fool's Day yet. this is the ultimate mission statement of SpaceX. I repeat it again. Making humans a multiplanetary species and colonize Mars. When it comes to the CEO of SpaceX, Elon Musk, a quick introductory note in my YouTube channel might probably not be enough. There are plenty of books you can read about him, and you can watch a lot of interviews. But it is obvious to say that Elon Musk is a very special person. To many of you, he is known as the founder of Tesla, and some of you might have first heard about him when he started tweeting about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies last year. Elon Musk is currently not only the richest man alive, but he's also a visionary. Elon has one single goal on his mind. He wants to reach Mars. He wants to establish a human base. He wants to colonize it, and he wants to make us humans a spacefaring civilization. I would like to state that, of course, I'm a huge admirer of Elon Musk, and I fully support his dream of making humans a multiplanetary species. But I do not support all of his views, and I do not appreciate all of his tweets. But when it comes to space travel, when it comes to reaching the moon, Mars and beyond, then I'm a full admirer and supporter of his vision. Now let's talk about SpaceX. The company Space Exploration Technologies, or SpaceX, was founded in 2002. SpaceX is headquartered in Hawthorne, California, which also serves as its primary manufacturing plant. The company operates as well in Redmond, Washington, owns a test site in Texas, and operates 3 launch sites, with another one under development. If you compare SpaceX to government space companies such as NASA and Roscosmos, or to private space organizations, the focus of SpaceX was always on reusability. The ambition was to build reusable rockets. If we look at the Apollo missions of NASA in the 1960s, the mighty Saturn rocket wasn't reused. Some of the Saturn rocket stages landed in the Atlantic Ocean and were disposed of. Some parts are still floating around somewhere between Earth and Moon. So when SpaceX successfully landed a Falcon 9 rocket booster for the first time in 2015, that was a massive game changer for the whole space industry. The Falcon 9 rocket is a so-called working horse of SpaceX. Falcon 9 is mainly used for delivering Starlink satellites into orbit and cargo, as well as astronauts to the International Space Station ISS. SpaceX has various contracts with NASA, but also with private institutions for sending up satellites and equipment to space. The Rolls-Royce of the Falcon rockets is the Falcon Heavy, which currently has 3 times the thrust of a Falcon 9 rocket booster. Falcon Heavy is mainly used to deliver very heavy objects and satellites into space. So far, there have only been 2 Falcon Heavy flights, but for this year, Elon Musk has announced 5 flights of a Falcon Heavy rocket. Now, let's talk about Starship and Super Heavy. Starship is currently being developed in Boca Chica, Texas, and should one day bring humans back to the Moon and Mars. Starship will be a fully reusable rocket which stands more than 50 meters tall and has a maximum load capacity of delivering 200 tons to space. That equals to 5 fully loaded trucks. The production of the Starship prototype has started almost 2 years ago. Since then, several prototypes have been assembled, and the first successful test flight of a Starship prototype has been accomplished last year in May with the so-called SN-15. The SN-15 prototype achieved a successful landing after having reached an altitude of approximately 10 kilometers. Starship will be a complete game changer in the space industry because it can be fully reused and it will be capable of landing on foreign planets. Because of the heavy payload and the pull of Earth's gravitational field, starships cannot take off on their own and therefore need some extra thrust. This is where the second rocket stage comes into play, which is called Super Heavy. Super Heavy is a 70-meter tall booster which is capable of propelling Starship into orbit. As we have seen during the Apollo missions to the Moon, the mighty Saturn rockets, which ultimately sent the Apollo landing module to the surface of the Moon, consisted of 3 rocket stages. The goal of Super Heavy is to put Starship into orbit and then to return back safely to Earth, to get refueled and prepared for the next flight of Starship. The current Starship and Super Heavy prototypes don't have any landing legs because, and this may sound crazy, but Elon Musk and SpaceX's ambition is to catch the returning Super Heavy boosters as well as Starships out of mid-air with the help of a catching tower. That is why for all the current and upcoming Starship and Super Heavy prototypes, landing legs are not needed. The first catching tower, which is called Mechazilla, has already been built in Boca Chica. Once operational, Starship and Super Heavy will be refueled, reassembled and ready for a second launch within several hours. You can clearly see that rapid reusability is key for SpaceX. Currently, there is one production facility where all the Starship and Super Heavy prototypes are being assembled. This facility is in the town of Boca Chica in Texas, USA. But Elon Musk has also announced some weeks ago that he is building up a second SpaceX facility at Cape Canaveral in Florida. The reason for building up a second factory is clear. SpaceX is preparing their SN20 and Booster 4 prototype for the first orbital test flight ever, and it looks as if everything is ready to go. But SpaceX is still waiting for the official approval of the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. The FAA should decide on the 31st of March if Elon Musk and his company can continue their efforts in building Starships and conducting prototype testing. If all goes well, we might very well see a first orbital test flight of a fully assembled Starship and Super Heavy prototype in probably May or June this year. If the FAA withdraws the permission, then SpaceX would be forced to halt all their activities in Boca Chica and relocate to Cape Canaveral. This would delay the whole Starship project for at least 6 to 9 months. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed then. Well, this was SpaceX and Starship in a nutshell. I truly hope that you have all enjoyed my very first video on my channel. The next video, which I'm going to upload, will be part 1 of my SpaceX ABC. If you want to be up to date about the latest developments at Boca Chica, please feel free to also visit my webpage on the SpaceX news section. Finally, if you have enjoyed today's video, I would very much appreciate a thumbs up below. And if you haven't joined my channel yet, please click on the subscribe button. Comments are as well always welcomed. In the meantime, I wish you all a wonderful time and see you in my next video. Go Starship, go SpaceX. Ciao.